Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are diving deep into the super specialized microscopic world of U.S. Navy electronics repair. And hey, if you're studying for an exam on this stuff, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down everything you need to know to absolutely crush it.
So, let's just jump right in with a scenario. Picture this. You're on a nuclear sub, hundreds of feet beneath the ocean, miles and miles from the nearest port. Suddenly, a critical circuit board on a vital piece of gear goes down. You can't exactly call for a replacement part, so what do? The answer is, you rely on a highly trained technician with a very particular set of skills.
And that's where this comes in. The solution, the whole reason that technician can save the day, is the Navy's miniature/microminiature program, which everybody just calls 2M. This is the whole system that's been designed to handle exactly these kinds of high-tech, high-pressure repairs.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll explain what the 2M program actually is. Then, we'll get into the 3 levels of maintenance, super important. After that, we'll look at how you even find the problem, check out the specialized tools, and then cover the absolute basics of high-reliability soldering. And to wrap it all up, we'll do a quick recap and hit some practice questions to make sure you're good to go.
Okay, first things first, let's really get our heads around what the 2M program is all about. This is the foundation for everything else, so it's a great place to start. So what is it exactly? Well, the 2M program isn't just a training course. It's a whole system. We know from Navy manuals that it provides standardized training, all the specialized tools, and an official certification. Now, why does that matter? It's all about reliability. It means that a repair done on an aircraft carrier in the middle of the Pacific is going to be done to the exact same high standard as one done at a major shore command. It's all about consistency and making sure the fleet is always ready to go.
All right, so now that we get what the 2M program is, let's talk about how it's actually organized out in the fleet. See, the Navy doesn't have a single one-size-fits-all way to fix things. It's actually a pretty clever tiered system designed to be as efficient as possible. So all maintenance is broken down into these 3 main levels: organizational, intermediate, and depot. O, I, and D. The easiest way to think about it is like a pyramid. The simplest, fastest fixes happen at the wide base of the pyramid, and the really complex stuff happens way up at the top. Let's start at the bottom with O level, or organizational. This is your frontline repair. It's done by the same people who actually use the equipment, right there on the ship or in the squadron. Why is this level so important? One word: speed. This is the fastest way to get a critical piece of gear back up and running. A perfect example is a technician troubleshooting a system, finding a bad circuit card, pulling it out, and just plugging in a spare. Boom. Problem solved, mission continued. But what happens when the fix is more complicated than just swapping a card? Well, that's where I level comes in. Think of these as the specialized support shops for the fleet. Their whole job is to fix the stuff that O level had to replace. So that broken circuit card from the ship, it gets sent here to an I-level shop, where a certified 2M tech will actually get out the soldering iron, remove the one tiny bad component, and replace it. And finally, at the very top of that pyramid, we have D-level, depot level. This is the big leagues. We're talking major industrial facilities, like shipyards. They handle the most complex jobs you can imagine. Things like complete system overhauls, rebuilding entire pieces of equipment from the ground up, and performing major upgrades. This is where gear goes to basically be made brand new again.
Okay, so we know who fixes what and where they do it, but how in the world do they even find the problem in the first place? I mean, a single circuit board can have thousands of tiny little components, so let's look at the gear they use to troubleshoot.
To hunt down one single faulty part, technicians have 3 main types of test equipment in their arsenal. First up is BITE. That stands for built-in test equipment. This stuff is actually part of the system itself, and it's always running checks. You ever see a fault light pop up on a piece of gear? That's BITE telling you something's wrong. Next, you have GPET, General Purpose Electronic Test Equipment. These are the classic tools of the trade, like a handheld multimeter that a tech uses to manually poke around and trace a problem. And finally, for the really deep dives, there's ATE, Automated Test Equipment. You plug a circuit card into this big machine, and it runs the card through its paces, simulating real operating conditions to pinpoint the exact component that's failed.
All right, now for the really fun part. Once the fault is found, what tools do technicians actually use to perform these microscopic repairs? Let's take a quick look around a 2M repair station.
This right here is the heart of the whole operation. It's the repair station power unit, and you can think of it as the brain of the technician's workbench. It precisely controls the temperature, the airflow, and the vacuum for all the different specialized hand tools that are needed to desolder, clean up, and then install a new component with just incredible precision.
The work really requires an amazing range of scale. On the one hand, you have these big, beefy tools like the Panavise, which is designed to hold an entire circuit board steady. But then, on the other hand, you have these incredibly delicate tools that seriously look like they belong in a dentist's office. And those are for meticulously scraping and positioning parts that you can barely even see.
And we absolutely cannot forget about safety. Working with solder fumes, all kinds of cleaning solvents, and even airborne dust from grinding, it creates some real hazards. That's exactly why personal protective equipment, like these goggles and respirators, are non-negotiable. They are absolutely mandatory because you can't fix the gear if the technician isn't safe.
So we've seen the whole setup. Now let's talk about the single most fundamental skill in all of 2M repair, creating a perfect solder joint. And believe me, it's both an art and a science. Okay, this is a huge one, especially for any exam. It all comes down to choosing the right material. Now, standard 60-40 tin lead solder has a big problem for electronics. It goes through this plastic or kind of slushy state while it's cooling down. If the part moves even a little bit during that time, you get a bad connection, called a disturbed joint. That is why 2M techs use 6337 eutectic solder. That word eutectic is key. It means it changes directly from a solid to a liquid at one single temperature, 361 degrees Fahrenheit, and then right back again. There's no slushy phase, which makes it way better for creating clean, reliable joints.
Now, solder gets all the attention, but let me tell you about the real unsung hero of this whole process, flux. You can have the best solder in the world, but without flux, it is completely useless. See, all metals have this invisible layer of oxide on them that solder just can't stick to. Flux is a chemical cleaner that, when you heat it up, scrubs that oxide layer away. This allows the molten solder to flow out and form a perfect electrical and metallic bond. For electronics, rosin-based flux is the go-to because it works great and it's non-corrosive.
Phew, okay, we have covered a lot of ground. So now let's make sure all that information gets locked in. We're going to do a quick, rapid-fire recap of the key terms, and then I'm going to throw a few practice questions your way that you should definitely be able to answer by now.
All right, you ready? Lightning round. The 2M program is the Navy's whole system for miniature electronic repair. The 3 levels of maintenance are O, I, and D: organizational, intermediate, and depot. AT is that automated test equipment for deep diagnostics. Eutectic solder is that special 6337 stuff that melts at a single point. And flux is the chemical cleaner that makes it all possible. Got it? Awesome.
Okay, here we go. Question number 1. What are the 3 levels of maintenance we talked about? Take a second. You got it? They are organizational, intermediate, and depot.
All right, next one. What type of solder is the best for electronic work? And this is the important part. Why? The answer is 6337 eutectic solder, and the why is because it melts and hardens at a single temperature, which prevents those nasty disturbed joints.
And for our last question, what is the purpose of flux? Why do we even need it? Its job is to be a chemical cleaning agent. It removes the oxides from the metal surfaces so the solder can form a strong, clean, reliable electrical bond. If you nailed those 3 questions, you are in really good shape. Fantastic work!